It's Easter morning, and I'm 12 years old, and I woke up and I didn't feel good. Not a little not feel good, like really not feel good. So much so that I went to my mommy's room and asked if I could lay in her bed. Next thing I know, I wake up, and I'm on the floor of my living room with strangers putting tubes on me and tubes in me and looking and acting so concerned. I close my eyes, I wake up again, and I'm in an ambulance. And they're asking, who's the President of the United States? Do you know your name? Do you know who you are? And all I could think is, huh? I close my eyes again, and I wake up, and I'm in the hospital. But this time I wake up. It's not blurps of my life flashing, but I actually am awake. I'm 12 years old, and everybody I know and love is looking at me with broken eyes, like this. And at 12 years old, I didn't understand what was going on. I just knew that I was being looked at like I was broken. Let me tell you a little secret. Our hormones are a mess. And when you're 11 years old, you are flooded with hormones. That is just how our bodies work. But then at 13, our brains start developing emotionally. That means, remember when you were in 7th and 8th grade, and those of you that are there, it's just happening to you. It's just real. And at 13, we start developing emotionally. I was 12, and all of a sudden, everybody looked at me with broken eyes. So in my head, with my flush of everything, I assumed I was broken. So when I looked in the mirror and I saw myself, I saw me broken. I thought that I needed to hide and I needed to shame myself. See, I have epilepsy. So when everybody looked with broken eyes, it's because I really, really scared them. See, I shook uncontrollably. But not only that, I held my breath. My eyes rolled behind my head. I was bleeding out of my mouth, and I urinated on myself. And there's not a thing I can do about it because it's a short circuit in my brain. It's just how I am made. And you know what? It's okay. But at 12 and 13 and 14, it wasn't okay. It made me think that I wasn't worth it. It made me feel like I deserved to look in the mirror and not like who I saw. And that's how I acted. Now, so those of you who are younger, which you should all be, we didn't have selfie sticks and we didn't have cameras. We could not practice how we looked. So what I did is whenever a camera was around with real film that you paid to develop, I hid. And I avoided. And I wanted to hide from the world because they looked at me with broken eyes. So I told myself I was broken. Then one day, I had sat and looked at all those pictures that we had developed. And what I saw was me hiding. It was me going like this, and me being obsessed over my big nose that I hadn't grown into, and me being upset I wasn't tall as my friend, and me not liking me because somebody looked at me with broken eyes because I scared them. So I did it. I was walking out and I thought, the pictures of me broken couldn't possibly be as bad as the pictures of me smiling. So I decided that day forward, I would look up and smile and try. Just try. I tried out for a high school cheerleader and got it. I tried to look up and smile and believe myself. This is the junior year of high school. That's me, my senior year in high school. I didn't change much, but what I changed was me. That's when I came up with my 4-step program, BeUtoFullness. because we're all exactly differently the same. We are always fighting our hormones and our bodies and what we think we should be and what we want to be and what we want to be. And we think we have some kind of control over this. How many of you are watching your friends and seeing how many Facebook friends or Instagram likes we're getting? Or you go to the store and you see who has the prettiest hair and who is tall and who has the body you want and then who has the best cars and who has the best grades for whatever you want to compare and compete with, right? And have you ever compared and competed with someone based on something they didn't choose? I want you guys to think back, way back. Do you remember when you were in your mom's womb? Do you remember sitting there all nice and warm and cozy and saying, I am going to be this tall. This is where my fat's going to go. This is how much energy I'm going to have. These are the things I'm going to accomplish. This is how smart I'm going to be. And this is why the world's going to love me, right? Because you picked all that stuff out, right? Remember doing that? Yeah, none of us did. Yet, have you ever based an opinion on someone or thought about yourself over something you have no control over? Have you based an opinion on yourself when you look in the mirror based on something you thought or heard when you were 13 years old, when your brain was developing emotionally, or 12 when I found out I was an epileptic? That's why BeUtoFullness, we are all exactly differently the same. The B in BeUtoFullness is your aliveness. This entire day you've sat there, this entire time you've been here, have you asked your heart to beat? Have you asked your brain to tell your lungs to bring in oxygen to feed your blood about your body? No. We don't waste our brain energy doing that. Yet, what have you been thinking about? What have you been worried about? I literally just learned this lesson of B. See, this is silly. I was skiing with my family, and I was on the bunny hill with my daughter, and I'm an intermediate skier, and she fell behind me, and when you ski with someone, you're supposed to stop. So as I started stopping on the bunny hill, and I guess this is like French fry, in French fry position, my knee went crackle, 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 snap, pop. And my ACL popped up, and my leg was decapitated basically inside. It hurt so bad. And that would have been bad, but what made it worse is 3 days after my surgery, I got extreme vertigo. Not a little vertigo, extreme vertigo, meaning my brain spun out of control, literally. So much so that my kidneys started shutting down, and I needed to be carried into the doctor's office. For 2 weeks, my brain spun. For 2 weeks, I desperately wanted control of this brain. And it didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter where I went. I couldn't control my brain. And then one day I woke up and it was over. The spinning, the dizzy, the throwing up, it was over. And so I took my crutches and I went to the couch and I sat there. And that whole time I wanted control of my brain, I never realized my leg never stopped healing. My heart never stopped beating. And that tear that started falling down my cheek just came. And that's when I realized, B, that you're alive. You have a chance, and you have a shot, and you are just like everybody else, a brain for a brain, a heart for a heart, a hand and a foot where they belong, because we are all exactly differently the same. You, the second part of this two-step program. You are a formula of 7 face shape, 3 skin tones, 5 body forms, and 3 hair types. That's it. Just like the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, make every color on this planet, you too are a combination that makes every single one of us. You matter, and you are the only you there will ever be. No one will look like you. No one will have the places of influence that you have. No one in this entire world will ever be you. And you have all the potential and all the abilities and all the capabilities to go through this life and become whatever you choose to be. You're a combination of 7 face shapes. We all have them. We all have a face. That's how we know we're humans. We connect to each other by our faces. I got to tell you a story. Because I'm a hairdresser and because I can see beauty in everything, I had a friend who said, Tami, I have this friend Jack. He knows his fullness. He's an English professor. But he just doesn't have it together. Do you know what I mean? And so they brought him into the shop, and as I was looking at Jack, I was like, oh man, his hair was long, his glasses were wrong, his shirt was tight, and his pants were big, and he walked in there kind of like this. And he sat in my seat. And I know that feeling, because my junior year in high school is when I switched it. So I'm like, have a seat, Jack. And as I was cutting his hair and doing all of this stuff for him, he started changing. We lifted it up and you could see his eyes and his handsome face. As he sat up more, his shoulders became more broad. And then he saw himself in the mirror. And then he started to doubt. He saw what I was making him to be, but it didn't make sense to him because he's never looked like that. So I said, okay, Jack, if you get 1 compliment on your new look, that equals 1 day of change. That means per each compliment you get, you give me 1 more day where you look the way I taught you to look. He had 2 compliments before he left his shop, and he looked really good. He was set, and he's still set. I see him all the time. You are one of 3 skin tones. You are either neutral, cool, or warm. We are all exactly differently the same. It doesn't matter how white, tan, brown, black you think you are. We are all exactly differently the same. You didn't pick it. You didn't decide it. The only thing you get to do is choose what you're going to do with it. Now, I am not talking about your heritage. I am not talking about your ancestry. Those are things you should make and make proud of. What I am talking about is basing an opinion on yourself or someone else based on something none of us chose. You are one of 5 body forms. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish we could tell our fat where to go, but we can't. I've tried for years. The thing is you are made the way you're made. And what you decide to do with how you're made is what you decide. You are one of 3 hair types. You either have a lot or you don't. And if you want to fix it, you can. You are the only you there will ever be. No one will ever look like you. No one will have the places of influence as you do. And you matter. And that's when I came up with my 3rd step, 2. This is the hard one, guys. This is the really hard one. Because 2 means you have to move forward. But a lot of times, we like to use excuses why we can't. I used broken eyes because of my epileptic seizures to give me an excuse not to look up and smile and believe in myself. Some of us use, well, my mom made me this, or my friend said this, or you did this to me. Guess what? You are 100% control of your choices. You can choose to be angry. You can choose to be sad. You can choose to have peace. You can choose to accept yourself, allow yourself, forgive yourself, whatever. But you are 100% in charge of your choices. And because you are in charge of your choices, we need to be able to look in the mirror and allow ourselves to age. Guys, you're young now, and aging sounds real cool because you're going to college and life is going to change. But trust me, as you get older, that allowing means gravity is going to pull on your skin and all the rest of the pieces of your body. And it's going to happen because gravity's not going away. You need to accept yourself. You need to accept that you're going to change, evolve, and turn into things you want to be. And there's things you're not going to always love, but you can accept it about yourself. You can let go of negative self-talk. Set it free. Digits are not definitions. That number on the scale has nothing to do with what I am. You are not what you look like. And you're not who you were. And you are not where you're going. You are what you do. What are you doing? And that's when I came up with fullness. This is your weaknesses, your strengths, your powers, all the things that really make you you. See, your fullness is this. It's your heart. It's the intentions of your heart. It's your gifts and your talents and your weaknesses. You guys, when I was a little girl, like 2 years old, I was going to be a princess. By the time I was 6 years old, I knew I wasn't going to be a princess, and that dream wasn't coming true. And then when I was 6 and 7 years old, I was like, I'm going to have all these kids, and I'm going to sew, and I'm going to sing, and I'm going to be able to cook. And none of those are my talents either. In fact, I am so tone deaf because of my broken brain that I've had people give me my money back from singing lessons. It is just not one of my gifts. But see, this is the thing about your fullness. You're young. You don't know it yet. And you're not going to. But you have to try. Join a team. Just a semester. And then if it's not for you and you don't have a passion for it and you can't sing like me, then after you're done and whatever you've committed to, let it go. Set it free. But try your fullnesses. I have been trying. I wanted to cook. Can't do it. Tried to grow a garden. 20 years. This year's ear corn was that big. It's so bad. I'm so bad at it. And not only that, the singing. That broken brain of mine, it's in my language center. I spent 45 days at UCLA Hospital to have brain surgery just to be told I couldn't. See, I have 3 brain lesions, which are actually holes now, and they're in my language center, and they connect my pieces. And it's broken, but I can speak. And I was told by other people, because I did write a column, which I hated doing, trust me. It hurt so bad. I literally had to hold my brain and my food in to type out the columns. And then when I was told by Jack, who knew his fullness, that I was an author, to write a book, I'm like, I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. My brain's broken. I was using an excuse. See, you don't know all your fullnesses yet. And if you want to grow up and be a princess, who says you can't? But you can't give up. And you can't keep trying. And if you do have a talent, and you do have a gift, and you do have a fullness, just because it's hard shouldn't give you permission to give up. We are all exactly differently the same. You didn't pick your formula. You didn't pick it. You didn't pick your eyes, your face, your skin, your tone, where your fat goes, any of it. But you 100% get to choose what you do with it. Choose to be more. Don't settle. Don't sabotage. Don't hurt yourself. You are worth it. And you are going to be the generation that can change ours. And when you believe in you, the world will believe in you. And more than that, when you believe in yourself, you can change the world. See, I dream of a world with BeUtoFullness people in it. People who know who they are and realize they didn't choose this outside, but they choose how to feel on the inside, and they choose what to do. And they go to the store, and instead of being insecure and wondering who's looking at them and who's seeing my flaw and who sees my zit, they walk into the store, one BeUtoFullness whole person, and they believe in themselves. And because they're one whole person believing in themselves, they see those who are hurting, and they lift and build them too. BeUtoFullness. We are all exactly differently the same. You didn't choose it, but you 100% can choose to be more.